Good stuff, good stuff. Anyways, let's restart that. What's going on, everyone? Isaac Basham here. I would like to sincerely welcome you guys to the We All Eat in the 661, or We All Thrive in the 661. Yeah, we all definitely all eating too. But anyways, the purpose of this event is to basically bring together like-minded individuals to, to network, to learn about new skills when it comes to business, marketing, business branding, business alchemy. I'm hosting this event with my good friend Victor Melgar of The Alchemist. Yep. And just wanted to do something to bring together a bunch of different brands in collaboration, and just create a great opportunity for us to all get together and see other great people in Bakersfield. So
following up with that, the whole purpose of We All Thrive, it is to bring together people who are like-minded. But I mean, truly, I believe that if we bring together people who have ambition, who have vision, if we all put together ourselves in one room, I think a lot of good will come out of it. A lot of new ideas will come out of it, and most importantly, a lot of action will come out of it. And so that's why we're here today to really put this event on, so that we can all kind of network together, know more about each other, and really understand our businesses and what we're trying to do, so we can all come up. So I want to do a little exercise. I want to get to know everybody, to get to know each other a little bit. Everybody to say their name, what kind of business they're in, and why they are here. So we'll start with from the left side, from my left side to the right side. So we'll start with Gabriel right over here.
Yeah, you can just stand.
Bring it up. Come up here. Go for it.
Alright, so my name is Gabriel Vina. I came here to learn more about business, learn about the other skill sets, meet other like-minded individuals, like they said, and perfect my craft right now too. I'm an independent contractor, insurance agent, and right now I'm looking to actually get more into construction and learn how to just kind of build from there. Learn how to build more with my hands, and then start, as far as from networking, do a lot of stuff like that. So, lots of me, right? A little bit about myself right there.
Thank you, brother. Everybody give a round of applause for Gabriel.
I guess next up, Logan.
Alright. Do I need to go up there?
Yep.
You can stay there, it's fine.
Further fast, man.
It's hard being the first one.
Alright, so I'm Logan. I'm CEO of Lion Pride. It's actually right over there.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, presentation.
Alright, so we have some sports bras over here.
Okay, this isn't the same
Okay, by the way, we got a sale going on.
I got man boobs, man. Hey, it's perfect for you, man.
Alright, Logan.
Alright. I came, support my good friends here. We're gonna put on the greatest. That's right, Adam.
I didn't say it. Alright, Logan. You're good?
Yes.
That's Logan.
Then Adam, you want to go or not?
Go for it.
My name's Adam. I own Wavy Weeds. We're a cannabis line / clothing line. I just basically came here to network. I came to support my good friends. They're doing something here that I think we should all be a part of, and I would love to see grow. So that's why I'm here.
Tabari, I'm the owner of Owners of Cowork, and I'm here to support Victor. I guess he asked me to speak, so I'll be saying a little something.
Name's Jonathan Prime. I own IDI Tech. It's a HIPAA consulting firm, and we do make sure companies will federal regulations.
Hi, I'm Evelyn. My brand is Monday with Me. Just a little bit of everything. I create events. I'm very for the arts, so I do a lot of photography. I'm kind of expanding my videography. And I'm actually throwing a fashion show June 13th. Looking for sponsors, so if you know anybody that'd be interested in funding that, it's gonna go towards the Autism Society here in town, towards the Lego workshop. So yeah.
I'm Amanda. I own the studio, which is sewing and creative
this event, we showcase all different types of artists, visual, performing, and filmmakers, and that's actually coming up here in April, at the end of April. So, yeah, same thing, looking for sponsors. I came to support Victor. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Oh, I'm one of the speakers. I'll give you all my name later on.
I'm Mariah. I work at a plastics manufacturing plant in town, and I'm about to move into marketing for them, which is a new venture for the company in general. And I actually ended up donating, so he invited me to this.
Nice.
Love it. Welcome. Ryan, do you want to go introduce yourself?
Introduce.
Let everybody else.
Oh, you're ready, you're up.
Yeah, everyone's got it.
Oh, well, what's up? I'm Ryan. I'm just here to spectate that. Mainly, kind of just working on my brand, Elegant Hustle, and kind of re-innovating the whole brand. So it's a lifestyle of creating second options for kids who really get a chance.
Love it. Perfect. That leads into first speaker.
First speaker, yeah. So we want to bring our first speaker, Domi.
Oh, okay. No
And
problem.
we just want to say thank you for guesting for us. And he's going to be teaching us about customer acquisition. So everybody give a hand for Domi.
I know about Victor because his dad was one of my Tai Chi students. So I'm a martial artist, okay? And I also am a consultant. I do continuous improvement. I help major companies, I have small companies. But right now I'm going to talk to you about marketing. Because if you don't market, you ain't going to get no money, okay? Now there's special ways of marketing, all right? The old-fashioned style that you push through it. You knock on doors, you make calls, you knock on doors, you make doors. You make 500 calls, you get no for an answer 500 times. It's called shooting for ducks in the fog. Have you ever tried doing that? You hear the duck, bam, 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 bam. You're gonna hit it? No. If you have a structured marketing campaign, however, you get rid of the fog. All the ducks are lined up right there. You got all the bullets in your gun, and you start shooting and hitting them. Now that doesn't mean you're gonna hit them, but it's sure as heck better shooting them there than shooting out. We follow me? Is it? Are we good with that? Yeah. Now I'm gonna be hitting some points here, and I'm gonna ask a very simple question, and I want you guys to try to answer this. Okay? Okay, you'll be the person. How do you put 8 pounds of marbles in a 4-pound bag? Anybody?
Everybody says it. Shut up. What's everyone about it?
4-pound bag.
No, get a bigger bag.
Okay, that's okay. Anybody else?
Grind them up.
Okay, grind them up.
That same guy.
All right. I said it in plain English, right? It was very clear. Okay. What is the answer, Mariah?
We fill it up twice.
You put 4 pounds of marbles, and you put 4 pounds of marbles. I asked you the question, how do you put 4 pounds of marbles in an 8-pound bag? It was in plain English. In marketing, if you're going to go and sell something to somebody, and if you say something and they may hear something else. So I say put 8 pounds of marbles in a 4-pound bag, or if you're selling your whatever you're selling, and you speak in clean English, you still can get a different conclusion. Follow, right? So what you have to do before you go there, you have to create a pattern so that things can go in. I'm gonna write some things on the wall. This is very important because once you understand this, this will give you guys an understanding on how you can sell more, put more money in your pocket, and take those trips that you've always wanted to take. And buy, okay? Piece of paper here. Remember it all. Okay. Have you seen this before? Okay. Okay, what is this? What does that mean, everybody?
Profit margin?
Almost.
No.
Okay, in the whole freaking universe and the galaxies, these people are going to buy. Okay? Doesn't matter. If you meet that person, this guy says, here's the money, give me my stuff, okay? These people are gonna buy, but you know, maybe not. There's other reasons. These people thinking about it, but no. These people are not thinking about it and no. And these people are hell no. You can pay me money and I ain't gonna buy it. So that means you're aiming at ducks all over the freaking place. But wouldn't it be nice if you were aiming at ducks that came into here? Okay? Follow me? Now, I'm going to ask you some questions. This is important too. What are the motivating factors why people buy? Does anybody, just give me some numbers and I'll tell you what it is. What?
They have a problem.
Problem? Go ahead.
They want or need it.
Okay, good. There's a need.
Supply and demand.
Okay? And there's a want. Okay, some more. Sorry.
They're trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Okay, Joneses.
That's
Joneses.
Yeah.
Joneses. Okay, who else? Come on. Give me some stuff. Give me some love, man. Let me hear ya. All right, I'll tell you. Never mind. Hey, babies, man. Desire. Urgency. Me now. And it's always about the money. If I got the money, I'll buy it. That's his people. I can't buy it because I ain't got the money, but I got the desire. And then there's a big thing called trust. Trust you, me, and the product and service. Okay? They want to buy this, right? You want to sell that. In lean manufacturing, when I do lean sales funnel, I teach marketing and sales people only to sell to buyers. And I go, how the hell? I don't know who the dang buyers are. How do I know? Are you a buyer? You don't. I mean, are you one of them? Are you a buyer? Are you? How many people are in the world? Zillion. And I gotta find 3% to buy. That's a trip. Okay? So everybody wants to know the secret. They want to know the secret, they want to know it now. Not only does it work for me, but it works for you, and it's free. Those words that I just said are magic words. Anytime you go into a sales situation, Mariah, this is for you. It's going to happen now. You use those words, you go, ooh. And you know what? It's a secret. It's a secret because no one else knows it. Guess what? You're the only one here, and you're going to be walking out with the secret. Because I'm going to show you the secret and how today and now, immediately, you can start the paradigm for success. Okay? I use magical words. Those words that I said have been studied for years and years and years. And if you use that and say now and free and everything, they get excited. They get into, these people will go immediately into here. Okay? You got all this? Okay. Mr. Where's the towels? Because I know you already wrote this now. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we got this part. This is so important because we're going to get into the marketing side that I've been doing for some companies right now, except for you. It's called, everybody's heard of the sales funnel, right? There's different types of sales funnel.
Yeah.
Anybody say it? Got it? Yeah. All right. Sales funnel look like this. Okay. And this is a universe. Okay. That's a billion people, whatever it is. And then over here is the 3%, the 7, and the 3%. Okay? Follow me? So how are we going to get them to go in that funnel? Well, there's two areas right here. They call it content chunks. And then this one right here is called macros. Micro, sales, magic, whatever. And I'll tell you what these little parts come in. This one is awareness. And And this is interest, evaluation, decision, retention, and advocacy. Everybody understand that, right? See this right here? Awareness. This part is when they say, oh, tell me more. And then this one says, I'm making a decision now to be a 7 or 3%er. Okay? I know you guys following me because I'm going to show you how you get there. Then after they decide, next month I'm going to buy some more. Dang, nabbit, this is so good. I'm going to tell my sister to buy from you. My sister's got a brother wants to buy from you. And guess what? You're going to have all kinds of people buying from you without even have to go to do any more work. So you sell, there's a thing about Filipinos. If you sell lumpia to people and they like it, you just multiply times 100 times in that area. You don't go nowhere else, right? You got it? That's it. Okay.
Those are egg rolls, right?
Yes. Yeah, we put cockroaches in. Now, okay, here comes the beauty. Okay, now, see this right here? And I know you guys have been doing something like this, but you didn't know why. It's called content marketing. You've done it before, right? Okay, tell me how you guys do your content marketing. Okay, Robert?
Right, so you ideally want to start with larger pieces of content, and you want to break it down. You can use it in multiple platforms. So if you create a video.
Okay, so let's look at platforms. Okay. Okay, let's give me one. I'll start with one.
LinkedIn.
Facebook,
LinkedIn.
Instagram, what else?
LinkedIn.
Twitter,
Email.
TikTok.
Who?
TikTok.
Oh man, you guys are way ahead of me.
He's like, what?
Okay,
Snapchat.
okay, Snap. Okay, what else? Come on.
Email. Website. Text messaging.
Oh.
Word.
It's all in here. I only got one of these. Just wait.
Sorry.
Pass it on. Okay, everybody take a look, touch it, feel it. Okay? Feel the thing. I want you to look at that. Okay? It's called a cheat sheet. Cheat sheets are real cool. Okay? Because the cool thing about it is that when you do awareness and interest, what happens whenever you go to a website and what immediately happens? Boop. Boop. And then you either you don't want it, or you say, oh yeah, I'm interested in a cheat sheet, or I'm interested in a whatever. And what happens whenever they respond? You get a email address. Okay. So it's either email or you get a text, an SMS phone number. Okay. What happened? What does that mean if they respond?
And they're interested.
They're evaluating. And if your sales proposition, unique sales position, is something, everybody sells these things, you know that. So what does it make you better?
Quality.
No, you gotta say something better. Free. It makes bald people grow hair. You gotta say something stupid that people believe. Because it has nothing to do with reality, but what they believe.
Have to make it personal.
Yeah. It makes you powerful. It makes you sexy. It makes your feet bigger. And they say, you know, these 3%ers, we don't know where their head's at. Nobody knows where those 3%ers are. They could be smart as me, or they could be as dumb as me. You see what I'm saying? All that matters, what are the factors that makes a person want to buy? Say it. Desire. Urgency.
Yeah.
Urgency.
Need.
And
Trust. Money.
money.
They got it.
Yeah? That's how, oh, I want this. I got no money. So what they do, they steal it so they can get it. Yeah, am I right? Huh? So you don't care if they stole it, all you know is they paid for it. Alright? So, then all of a sudden, okay, did you guys see this? Now, one of the things that I do when I have these meetings is how many of you want this? All you have to do is sign up. And guess what? I have your email address.
Referrals.
And referrals, well, you don't ask for referrals anymore. You never ask for referrals because why? Because it's old fashioned. It's as old as me. You ask for introductions now. Don't say referrals. Can I get an introduction, please? Just recently, I taught a Tai Chi class to a bunch of old people older than me. The CEO of this hospital organization came up to me and goes, how much you charge? I charge about $300 an hour. And the guy says, I says, okay. And I says, but I tell you what, you give me 4 referrals, I'll wipe it out. I got 4 companies, 4 doctors that are gonna hire me for $300 an hour.
Did you say referral or introduction?
I didn't say referrals. I just said, well, yeah, I did say referrals, didn't I? But I said, just give me, I said, just give me $4.
Well, you are old, so it kind of makes sense.
Well, you guys aren't old. You can say introduction. I'm teaching you here now. Okay. So, now, since I want you to come by on Tuesday, and I want you to give me a presentation, and then if we do it, then I'll sign a contract. Again, it's the funnel. See, I didn't know him until I actually went and did my deal. And then he came to me and then made a decision. Boom, boom, boom. Now, a lot of my thing are advocacy. If somebody calls me up and says, hey, Domi, I need you to go to this place. I need you to take care of it. And I get the job. They actually refer the introduction to me. And that could happen to you. Now, how do you do this? Okay? There's a skill and a technique. And a lot of things that you guys know way more than I do. I've been doing a lot of LinkedIn marketing. And the LinkedIn that I've been working on, they have specific algorithms that if you use specific words, specific things, like you said, categories, you know, that those darn things when you got these hashtags, okay? I did a piece for this one company. I didn't put a hashtag, I got 3,000 hits. Nothing. Then I put the hashtags on certain areas. I only got 300 hits, but I got 5 phone calls. Because it directed the message. Okay? Now the message on an email, the first one should be a story. Second should be features and benefits with a call to action. The one should be a call to action, and then goes back down the drip. And the story has to be emotional, has to cover something that has to do with pride, love, fear, guilt, and went down.
What was the FBR? FIB, sorry.
Yeah.
So is this a automated
You
email?
could do it automated, or you could actually do it on your own.
Manual?
Yeah. So what it is that whenever you write things, I want to get it, when you write that first story into the post, and then you follow it up with the features and benefits, okay? 17 years ago, I was down and out. I had no money, no love. I was living underneath an underpass off 99. Okay? And then something happened. I had an epiphany. Stop. You saw they got the cliffhanger. So the next time, people's going to be waiting for the part 2. then you come up with your product. You know what I'm saying? And then the product comes in there, and it thinks how it benefited the person, and then it has a call to action. And that call to action is da 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 da. If they do it, call to action, call to action, call to action. And that's part of it. Okay. Now there's methodology in how you write this thing. But it has to work when you deal with emotion. Do not try to be smart. Deal with emotion. Emotion self. Okay? Now, algorithms. Number one, videos. You can use YouTube, but if you're LinkedIn, they prefer that you direct upload. Direct upload brings in more hits to the right people. Okay? Okay, post. You want to post articles, but it has to be short. Do not put these long, drawn out love stories. Okay? Don't do that. People want to buy. Make it short. Sometimes you just might want to just do one of these things. A cold day made my life happy with Nala. Boom. That's all you need to do. You see? And then what would be cool is a testimonial. Testimonials. Put a testimonial in there. Credibility. Yeah. Put a testimonial. Could be a video, could be whatever. Pictures. Put pictures. You know what I'm calling? Do that. And be sure that you do it, but do it I have my notes. In my notes, if you put your email addresses, I'll send you, there's actually a template on how many times a week you should do a Facebook or whatever ad, that's been actually proven to bring in, to get rid of the fog so you see the ducks and you can shoot them. Okay? Yes, sir.
For what I do, it's niche, rooted,
I'm glad you mentioned that. Go ahead.
and it's expensive.
Yes.
Consequences of not using a service like mine, if you don't do it yourself, is a huge fine or jail time. So the other answer I have, or not answer, the response I have to that is they don't care.
Well, that means
They don't believe.
that you need to create. Well, again, who did the people who contacted you was a 30-30-30. They're still at 3 and 7% that they haven't touched. You need to get those people to come to you. And the best way they do that is to see you as an authority. The way that I was able to set people authority, that I was smart, I wrote this book here. It's not very, it's a lot of misspellings. And I give it to people. Oh, that's good. You must be a really big expert. Whoa. And then I even on my website, if you go to my website, I have a 10-lesson course on Lean Six Sigma. Nobody takes it. They just know, oh, you must be an expert. And when I send like a mail, listen, my name is Dromi Tamani and I'm a blah, 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 blah. I put in there, and then they call it marketing when you put something mail, whatever, wobble mail, I think they call it. No. Regular mail, where you actually write it in hand. And I put a scratcher in it. A scratcher. And they remember you. Oh, you did send me a scratcher. Or you send them like a gift box. Weird things, but this is $1 million contracts. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, these guys remember this stuff. And when they call, oh, I can't help you, but call my sister. She's a da-da-da-da. You see, you want to get to the 3 and 7%. The funnel. Let them come to you. Don't go and try to sell them. Let them come to you. And you'll have more money in your pocket. Okay? Oh! Ha! I'm going to tell you, this is the biggest seller. write something in there, oh, I can make you a millionaire, blah, 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 blah. And if I could prove to you that I can make you a millionaire, and then you show this guy driving this Bugatti and blah, 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 then he goes, oh man. Then he goes, oh, it's going to cost you, to take my class, it's going to cost you $50,000. What do you think? No, I can't afford it, man. I can't afford it. Okay, well, I win then, you know? You see this guy driving away? Because he's sucking in my greed. Okay? Emotion. The more deeper the emotion you get into your content. When you do your content, sucker in with emotion. Don't say that this is the prettiest thing next to sliced bread. They don't care. They don't care if it doesn't work. They want to feel the result. Now, I'm glad you mentioned niche. Niche marketing. It's better to market to a 1-inch wide lake and a mile deep than it is to market a mile wide lake and an inch deep. Because it's spread. You want to spread right there, and you want to catch all the fish that get in there. Okay? So niche market. Think of a niche. Left-handed Filipino bald-headed men. Chase after them, you'll get 3-7%. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. You'll find more response coming out of that. Bodybuilders between the ages of 22 and whatever, okay? I'm serious, okay? Think of that. Niche will make you money. You sell to everybody, you go broke. Might as well talk to it. Right? Sell to everybody, you go broke. Okay? You know why? I got broke doing that. 2 weeks I did this. I had nothing but I got more clients than I can handle. Matter of fact, I'm going to probably, no, I'm not. Just kidding, don't get that. For that to my client. But okay? Do you have any questions? You guys learn the secret now. Now it's up to you to make it happen. Okay? Collect emails, collect cell phone numbers. Use that. Use the platforms to get them so you can get your emails and then start doing emails out. Okay? Text messages out and niche it out. And then those people will come to you and say, here's my credit card number. I want to make an order for $50,000. And that's how it works. Okay? Now, what did I do right there? I hit that button, didn't I? Because you want that money. You can taste it. If you can taste that money, you can taste the good life. You know what I'm saying? No more drinking water from plastic cups. Oh, hell no. All right. You guys got it? You done? All right.
Thank y'all for that one. Jeremy? I'm sorry, man.
You timed it right.
So, actually, our next guest speaker, our next guest speaker he's coming all the way from Cal State. And Jeremy, it's a pleasure to meet you, my man. And introduce you to for sure. Oh, I said introduce you to Teddy.
I will.
No, don't.
I will. Jabari already knows me.
Yes.
But thanks for getting through that referral, man. You already emailed me.
Awesome.
You emailed me.
I emailed.
Okay, yeah, I got it, though. It's like I'll talk to him tomorrow. So, I am Jeremy Woods. I am the professor at Cal State that runs most of our entrepreneurship and small business programs. So, I can give you more about my background, but I think I'll just dive into my talk and then we can talk about my background again. I've done a lot of stuff over the years, so I did a couple different startups. None of them made it very big, but they were all very great experiences. Worked in the music business for a while, worked in management consulting for a while, and I lived for about 10 years outside the country, half of that in Europe and half of that in Brazil. So it's a little bit about who I am. And the talk that I like figured would be apropos for here, but you don't forget that. The talk I thought would be apropos for here was like a new one that I just came up with. These thoughts that I've already had, but it's a new one that I came up with called listening, delivering value, and the rule of 10. So, are there like white bar markers somewhere? There we go. Thank you.
You're old school like me.
Well, no, actually, I just didn't have time to do the PowerPoint before this, but. Is it okay? Okay. So, like, if I understood correctly from Victor, everybody here is like aspiring entrepreneurs and or looking to build your career, right? Do I have the audience correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so listening, delivering value, and the rule of 10. So, like, how many people in here, like, have taken a personality test of one kind or another? Okay, most of you. What personality?
INFJ.
Huh?
INFJ.
I can't remember the Myers-Briggs as well. It's been a while since I took it. So I is introvert, extrovert, right? N is intuitive or rational or something.
Intuitive or sensitive.
Okay.
Sensitive.
Okay, and then
Thinking, feeling.
okay,
Thinking,
Judging,
feeling,
perceiving.
judging.
okay,
Yeah, feeling, judging.
okay. What were your four again?
INF, feeling, J, judgmental.
Okay, so this is probably like second nature to you. Is anybody in here like the opposite of that profile?
ENFJ.
Yeah. So E and then N is intuitive, right? F is feeling, J is judgmental or judgment. And then what was the other?
Extrovert, feeling.
So it's extrovert, introvert, sensing, or intuition, thinking, feeling, judgment, perceiving.
And were you judgment or perceiving?
Judgment.
Judgment.
Okay, interesting.
ENFP.
So what?
ENFP.
ENFP. Okay. So perceiving instead of judgment. Has anybody ever done the Clifton Strengths Finder?
The 2.0,
Yeah.
I did it like 3 years ago.
As part of like VA for the 2900.
No, I did it separate.
Okay.
I just read the book.
And then has anybody ever done the DISC profile? Okay, so Barry, what are your? You remember?
I don't remember. Is that the colors?
Huh?
Yellow and blue and all that stuff?
Well, they color code things, but DISC is actually like dominance, influence, stability, and conformity.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be surprised. We did that in oil fields and we actually put it on our day helmets.
Okay, really? Like you're like four-letter.
Yeah, I was, no, not the INFJ, but the color.
Okay.
Everybody were
Oh, got it.
right-wing conservatives and I was the left hippie. And they looked at me, what? You're not here in Oakland? And I go, I didn't know what the hell is that, you know?
I imagine you'll relate to this. I imagine like several of you relate to this. Like it's been a long time since I took the Myers-Briggs. I can't even remember what mine was, but I know it's E, first of all. It's N, or what's the other letter?
S.
Sensing and
Sensing or intuition.
probably intuition. So E-N, and then
Thinking or feeling.
Thinking or feeling. Either you were thinking.
F,
Yeah.
and then
Judgment or perceiving.
Do you perceive things or do you judge them?
I'm kind of on the borderline there, but I would say ENFJ. So is that you too or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe this will be helpful for you. I think it'll be helpful for everybody in different ways, but I'll put this in terms of Strength Finder and DISC as well, so because I'm more familiar with those. So in Strengths Finder, I am achiever. They give you 5 like types, and it's ranked in order of importance. So I'm achiever, competitive, activator, which means I like to roll up my sleeves and do things rather than just talk about them. And then input and learning. So like the last 2 like are really about gathering information. But the first 3 are all about like in your face kind of things. And then for disc, it's actually like, I just did the like intro one, but it's 49% dominance, 40% influence, like 9% stability, and 2% conformity. Like I'm not like conformist in any way. So
Not a conformist?
no.
Okay, I got wrong.
Yeah, I know you probably could never guess that, but anyway, like this is something I learned like 25 years ago at this point. It's the only surefire thing that I learned in my 20s during doing sales. Everything else, I don't know if I actually knew what the hell I was doing or not, but this one I got right. And then delivering value is all really based on my like action-oriented, achievement-oriented style. And then listening is something I've really had to develop because that's a weakness of mine. But I started here because that's the most important thing. So I told Victor that this relates to both product and service development. So if you're coming up with a new product idea, service idea, you're building a new business, it's very relevant for product and service development. And it's also really important for sales and networking and marketing. So, like, what's really hard for people like me is to shut the hell up and listen. But that is key to the whole rest of the process. So, like, honestly, anything you want to achieve in life, you need to understand what other people want. Like, you need to understand what other people's priorities are. Like, that's how you create a winning product. That's how you get the job you want. That's how you get things done politically. That's how you get anything done in this world, is understanding what other people want and then finding win-wins where you can get what you want by helping them get what they want. And it's the same thing whether you're talking about product development or sales and marketing or politics or anything. It's all about listening to what other people want. So point number 1. Point number 2, delivering value. Like this is something I had to, like I said, I had to learn over time. I did not used to be good at listening at all. I just wanted to steamroll everybody because I thought my ideas were so great, and that's a great way to get to Nowheresville. So delivering value is something I'll take credit for my personality type. Like I see far too seldom in my students and in entrepreneurs all over the community and like professionals, just people doing their jobs all over the community, like not focused on concrete, rubber meets the road, deliverable value. So in a product development sense, that's all about like what does the customer want and what do they get out of that? Do they get like more time in their day? Do they get like products that make them happier as people? Do they get like things that are going to make them more productive so they can like bring in more revenues for the company? Is it things that are going to like help the whole world communicate better so that like people find ideas from other people faster and we build new solutions to problems faster? Like so whether it's product service development or sales and marketing, like it's really important that once you understand what other people want, that you can articulate very clearly, like, I understand that you want to build your career. So I am going to give you, like, this class, for example, that I teach at Cal State, but not this class, but like as an example, I'm a teacher, right? I sell classes. So you want to get job X. Like, if you invest, roughly 15 weeks of your time, 3 hours a week, like, listening to and doing what I tell you in the class, like, you will go from, like, this job that's making 30,000 to this job that's making 50,000 within 3 months. Like, the more specific you can get, the more, like, valuable it is to people. And, like, I see professionals right up to, like, senior VPs and administrators that can't actually articulate what the value is. Like, if you can't articulate the value, then you don't really understand what the hell you're doing. Like, you may be doing something good in general, but, like, real things get done when you can articulate value very clearly. So once you understand what other people need, yes?
Yeah, well, I'm a Lean Six Sigma guy. There's actually a specific definition for value.
Okay.
Okay.
I am a fan of the term Six Sigma, but I'm not, I don't come from that world, so tell me more.
I'll just let you know what it is. It's, and I think they heard a little bit about it. It's what a customer, okay, wants and desires now and willing to pay money for to be delivered on time, hassle and defects free.
Yep.
So it has to be, if they don't get it on time, there's no value. If they don't get what they want or desire, there's no value. So everything has to be, they have to hit those marks. If a gal goes out there and wants to get these 18-inch stiletto shoes that she saw and wanted to go to a store and it's not there, the store lost its value. That's the last time you're going to see it. So it's a very scientific methodology. People hard to figure, but it's the want and desire and now and urgency. And money.
Yep.
We got the money. I think.
I actually, like, can't think of a better way to express it. Like, I have my way, but you said it's perfect already. Like, can you repeat that one more time? Like, on time.
Okay, customer wants now, you can write it down. What a customer, as a product or service, a customer wants and desires, because a desire is an emotion. Okay, now, okay, desire.
Yep.
Willing to pay bucks, dollars. That's delivered perfectly, has to be delivered perfectly. On time, hassle, and defect free. You don't want to get a pair of shoes with both left feet, right?
Yep.
So it's got to be delivered perfectly on time. Hassle and defects free. It's because you don't want to have hassle. You don't want to go there, here's your money, I got it, I walk away with my 18, boom, happy. There's the value.
Yeah.
And it's also going to a school, I want the value to come to me because I'm paying money for it.
Yeah.
And I'm going there now. And I want the initial, I want satisfaction. So it's a thing about, that whole thing about transaction. Here's my money, give me my weed.
Yeah.
It's something, that's basically what it is. I mean, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, that's what it is.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? I don't want no dang seeds popping in my mouth. I want some good stuff. So that's what it's all about. So the thing about it is that when you start to see that desire and want, willing to pay, okay?
Yep.
So you can get it now perfectly. There you go. There's your value.
Yeah. Did I hear another voice?
No.
So actually, this is actually a great, like, drill down on what delivering value means. Like, if I can phrase it and if I can own it a little bit, like,
You can keep it.
if I can own it a little bit, like, the wants and desires actually comes from here. Like, if you don't listen, like, I see so many, like we just did a really successful startup weekend on campus. And as much as the students improved and came up with good ideas and grew over the course of the weekend, still on Sunday, they're saying, like, here's what I do, and like, here's why it's so great, without first, like, establishing with the judges, like, what was wanted to begin with. And this is a presentation, so there's not really the right format to ask the judges what do you want, and then phrase it in terms of what they want. But if you don't understand first, you don't ask and then listen to what other people want, like, you're just gonna steamroll. And you could give them a gold mine, and if what they really wanted was weed, they don't give a crap about the gold mine.
And then more specifically, what I saw when the judges were asking for questions, a lot of times the participants, they just weren't answering the questions. So even when they specifically said, when they asked about something, for whatever reason, the participants were just not answering the question a lot of times.
Yeah, like, I hadn't noticed that myself because I was too busy like networking and making sure everything worked. But yeah, totally another example. Like, listen to what the judges ask you, and then do your best to respond to it. And if you can't respond to it, acknowledge that you heard what they said, and acknowledge that it's important to answer, and tell them you have to get back to it. But like, I have another great example. Like, actually, I'm curious before I go on. How many people in here like are in here because you're either in the middle of or planning to build a business? Okay. Is anybody in here actually also looking for a job or career improvement, or just everybody in here is looking to build a business? Okay, so this is less relevant, but let me, like, I think you can relate to it still. Has anybody in here at one time in your life been trying to find a job?
No.
Okay, so like one of my colleagues on campus, a dear friend of mine, actually is in our like theater department, and she offers a class on like basically improvisation for professionals, and like she has me come into her class and like help judge, help advise and teach, but then judge how the students do in giving their personal elevator pitch. So, like, it's not an elevator pitch for a business. In this case, most of these students are looking for a job. They're just like they're still even sometimes sophomores and freshmen, and sometimes they're about to graduate, but they're looking for a job. They're not quite ready to start a business yet. So, like, the whole point of the class is improvisation. Like, you're supposed to listen to and react to the different characters that my colleague is playing. So, like, she'll play somebody that's busy, or she'll play somebody that's depressed, or she'll play somebody that's, like, calculating, or somebody that's arrogant. And not one of the students actually just stopped what they were saying to say, like, wow, like, you seem to be, like, distracted. Like, is everything okay? Like, not one of them. Like, they just all, like, they didn't notice that she, like, turned away, or they didn't notice that she looked up. They just, like, repeated their speech that they had memorized about the shopping one. That's a great way to not make a sale. Like, that's a great way to not find a customer. Like, you gotta listen first. So this is the whole wants and needs. If you don't know what the wants and desires are, you can't fill them. Yes, willing to pay. Like, has anybody in here read a book by Mahan Khalsa called Let's Get Real or Let's Not Play? It's like anybody in here read Spin Selling by Neil Rogers? So spin selling, I love spin selling. It's really the way sales should be done, especially for major accounts and big ticket things. But Let's Get Real and Let's Not Play is another great book, and it's really that's really what it's about. Like, let's get real or let's not play. So once you've defined value, like, okay, there is some spin selling you can do to help people see how valuable it is. 5 minutes, okay. But once you've talked with people about the implications of what they want, and they kind of feel the desire, you just have to put it out there. Look, like, this is gonna cost $20,000. Like, I see that you want it, like, can we do that? And if they're not willing to pay, then you haven't done enough to help them build their own perception of what they want. Then, yes, like, you have to do exactly what you said you're gonna do. You have to do it on time, and you have to not have any other hassle to it. This is what delivering value is. And then finally, the rule of 10, like, if you want anything new in this world to work out that is not currently in existence, so you want a new customer, if you want like a new partner for your business, if you want a new employee, if you want a new job, whatever, you need 10 irons in the fire. Like, turning your dreams into reality is a numbers game. Like, if you have one way for your business to work, one customer that all your eggs are in that basket, like, you may get lucky, but not usually. If you have 2 or 3, maybe. If you have 10, very rarely does one of those not end up working out. So, like, listen first, then make sure you're very concrete about what that value you're delivering to people, and be able to articulate it in dollar terms, in save time, in like increased connections. Make sure you can articulate it very clearly, and then have 10 irons in the fire. Like, for all of you building your businesses, if you have like 10 potential partners who can help you make it happen, if you have 10 customers that you're talking to, one of them's going to work out if you've done these first 2 things first. And it's really not rocket science. If you do these 3 things, you're going to be successful in whatever you're trying to do. So that's my quick spiel. I'd love to like have a conversation and talk more, but I think that
Is there a question and answer?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you guys have any questions?
Well, like, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like it might be beneficial after tomorrow goes, like, to have all 3 of them up there, and like, let us ask questions. I don't
There's
know
no
what
like
the
set
plan
structure or
was.
anything like that. So that sounds like a good idea. But
I mean,
I got a question.
so that you line us up and we'll just kind of take shots.
everybody just like takes it. I got you. Alright. But yeah, everybody give it a round for it. So we want to ask our next guest speaker. This one, I've known Tabari for a long time, and it's about 3 years now. Right? I feel like it's longer than that, low-key. But yeah, it's been 3 years, and I've learned a lot from this man. Like, he by far has taught me a lot about entrepreneurship, taught me a lot about business, how to scale your brands, how to basically set up and help build websites and kind of create digital content. So everybody give it a round for Tabari and What's our pitch deck?
I have to put up mine.
Oh!
Alright, ready.
Sort of.
Is that a PowerPoint?
Isn't it PowerPoint? I guess it is PowerPoint. It's like, you have a
You got a card?
PowerPoint on there, or do you have?
I could go and move it down and see.
What program is that?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's somewhere you can open in the browser. This doesn't look
This
like-
is honest. This is not even.
Yeah, open in the browser.
Yeah. I'm not the one with the Mac. I'm in.
You see now, that's why we use a whiteboard, okay?
Old school.
Old-fashioned.
Oh, yeah. Technical difficulties.
Okay, it'll work. We can just move it up. Yeah, just yeah, just slide.
What are you doing on the move, Brian? By the way, guys, there is food up there, so feel free.
Appreciate
Over
it.
there, got some wings, some other things.
There we go.
Alright.
You gotta put it.
Human clicker. Well, I want to thank Victor for inviting me.
It's your house.
He doesn't come there every day with it.
Click the slide.
You have to invite him.
So I'm Tabari. I'm the co-founder of Meshwork, and essentially we're here to help independent workers thrive, and we do that through our Mesh community, and we do that through our events in our workspace. And so, next slide. So I want to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset. So here's a quote here from Malcolm Gladwell, and it says, "As a writer, the best mindset is to be unafraid." And so what Malcolm Gladwell essentially is articulating here is a quality that a writer needs in order to be successful. And so we're going to talk about a few qualities that entrepreneurs need to be successful. So I want to draw the line of an entrepreneur, and you guys can tell me which one is true and which one is false. I guess since the whiteboard is here, I gotta use it. So in every single startup, there's like this nirvana experience that your business has. So it usually starts off like this, it goes down like this, and then it goes up like that. This is called the hockey stick, right? That's when your business reaches the point where you're experiencing exponential growth. And this is what most people think the entrepreneurship journey is going to look like. You're going to start down here, and you're just going to go all the way up. But it actually looks a little bit like this. And it's has ups, it has downs, but it's usually, hopefully, you're trending upward. But my question for you is, in your entrepreneurial journey, what do you do when you're right here? What do you do in these low points? What helps you to keep going when things just like really suck? When things are really hard, when you don't have money, you don't know how you're gonna meet the payroll, right? When you're out there taking out trash, what are you gonna do? And so I wanna talk about this entrepreneurial mindset. So what is a mindset? It's not anything deep. This is actually pulled exactly from Wikipedia, so I'll read it for you. But a mindset is a set of assumptions, methods, or notations held by one or more people or groups of people. A mindset can also be seen as arising out of a person's worldview or philosophy or life. So how would you guys put that in your own words as mindset? What do you think of when you hear the word mindset?
Perspective.
Your perspective. What else?
Your worldview.
Your worldview. What else?
Assumptions, methods, and notations.
There you go. Assumptions, methods, notations. Basically, it's a way that you use to view the world, a way that you use to view scenarios. a way that you use in order to decipher the things that are happening around you.
Why you think what you think in the present moment.
There you go. Why you think what you think in the present moment. And so we want to talk a little about the entrepreneurial mindset. So the reality is that 90% of all startups fail, right?
I don't know. Is it true?
It's true because
Okay, I was gonna say. I didn't see those locations in the bottom. You know.
it's true because of the PowerPoint. But the majority of people who start a business will actually fail. And so, what do you think it is that helps those 10% to be successful?
Persistence.
Their persistence, their mindset. Now, failing is not always a bad thing, right? In the lean startup methodology, actually, failure is considered a good thing because the more that you fail, the more that you learn that the way that you were doing something was incorrect. But what I want to talk about overall is that how do you continue to make your startup successful? And it's going to be pretty simple, nothing really deep. So let's go on to the next slide. So I'm going to talk about a few tips for success. So the first thing I want to say is start with your why. Why did you start the business in the first place? What is it that you want to accomplish? Why is it important to you? Why is it necessary for whatever you're doing to exist in the world? It has to be something that's more than superficial, more than something that's on the surface. Because if it's, I know money is important, fame is important, success is important, but if you're not getting a genuine happiness or excitement or energy from doing what you're doing, you need to keep thinking, and maybe that's not the good reason why you're doing it. I remember I used to, my background, I didn't talk about it, but I used to work as a hospital chaplain, and many of you may not know what that is, but essentially, I visited people in the hospital when they were sick, dying, suffering, any tragedy that you can think of, I was with them next to it. But I enjoyed what I did, but I didn't enjoy the setting that I did. And some of you may have experienced this. Well, if you're entrepreneurs, you haven't experienced, but if you work for someone else, you experience this, like on Sunday night, you got this deep pit in your stomach, and you realize that something is wrong because the weekend is ending and you gotta go to this job, right? Anyone ever experienced that? But the interesting thing as an entrepreneur, it kind of flips. I actually do not like the weekends, right? I do not like the weekends because that means I have to stop working and focus on other things. And so you have to figure out what is that one thing that I will get up and do every single day of my life if no one pay me $1 for it. If you can figure that out, then you are on your road to success. So the next thing. So this is not necessarily a mindset, but this is this is almost like a what can I say? I could say it's more of a principle for success, but a keystone habit is a habit that you develop, which when you master it, it leads to other habits, right? So, for example, one of the things that I try to do is exercise, right? And so if I want to exercise in the morning, I know that I have to wake up early, right? And if I want to wake up early, that means I have to go to sleep at a certain time, right? And so in order for me to go to sleep at a certain time, that means that I can't have a real heavy meal right before I go to sleep because I won't have a good night's sleep and I won't be able to wake up. And so a keystone habit is a habit which has impact on other habits that you do. For example, let's say you want to eat healthy, right? So the fact that you decide to eat healthy, it has impact on so many other things of your life, right? So if you're eating healthy, that means you probably have more energy If you're eating healthy, that means your mind is probably clearer. And if your mind is clear, that means you're able to think quicker, you're able to make better judgments, you're able to make better decisions. And so a keystone habit is something that we should all try to implement. Can anyone think of anything else? A keystone habit.
It sounds like I'm just repeating what I was speaking.
Yeah.
Like, I do those 3 things that I put up before in everything that I do every day. Like, it's, to me, it's all about, like, quickly and efficiently, like, solve problems.
Right.
Like, my keystone habit is I want as many check marks on my list at the end of the day as I can have.
Right.
And it's a mindset about, like, getting things done.
Right.
Obviously, study,
Studying.
whether that's in business or personal growth.
Right.
I think setting up like time zones where you can dedicate yourself to your study or your work.
Right.
Maybe like an hour or 2 every single day, like on that specific time, so that you keep that routine.
Yeah, time management. That's a good one. I have this journal. I started bullet journaling like last year. If you guys don't know what it is, just kind of look it up. But it's basically a journal that you keep where you just write down everything that you're going to do for the day. If you get that task done, it becomes an X. If you don't get it done, it becomes an arrow, and it goes to the next day. It has all different crazy things. But having, I would say, having your own personal productivity system is something that's a keystone habit in order to, make sure that you're successful. Because if you just wake up and you just let the day take you wherever the wind blows, you will absolutely get nothing done. And it's a balance because there will be people, there will be things that are calling for your attention, but you have to set your intentions early in the morning. Not necessarily early in the morning, but at the beginning of the day, so you can visualize, okay, this is what I want to accomplish for this day.
And that's the thing I was going to tell you about. It's by setting up, that's the mindset you were saying.
Right.
And all you guys are the law of attraction and all that stuff, you start with that affirmation. You wake up saying, it's going to be a screwed up day. It's going to be screwed up. But if you're going to say, hey, man, I'm going to kick some ass, and I'm just going to get some money. And then guess what? All of a sudden, you find $3,000 in your pocket. I don't know why. But because you got that mindset, you're pushing towards that direction. I'm serious. If you keep that stuff up, but if you start getting that negativity taking you down, that's that. Then you ain't gonna be working out. You're gonna be eating a lot of sugar. You're gonna be going crazy. So but the thing about it is that it starts with that mindset. Some people pray, and that's all good. But some people say, I'm just gonna wake up and I'm gonna kick some butt, and then that's it. You're going down.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, with waking up, like the cliche one, just making your bed in the morning, and it's an easy win.
There's a book. There's a book on that. There's a book that says, make your bed. And you first make your bed and you make it as perfect as it
It
is.
sets your presence for your
Then all of a
day.
sudden, the rest of your days will be perfect. There's a book on that. Make your bed.
Washing the dishes in the morning. I try to do that. Yeah. I know my day will be better because my wife is happier that the kitchen is clean. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned about setting the intention first thing in the morning, but what about like before you go to sleep?
you can do that as well.
That too.
You can do that as well. Journaling, right? Reflecting on your day. And
A to-do list the night before, so that when you wake up, you get that to-do list.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about one more thing, actually 2 more things. So another thing, sensei, I call him sensei, but Domi, is optimism, right?
Yeah.
Because as an entrepreneur, you have to have an unwavering sense of optimism, but then it's also kind of tempered with a little bit of reality, if that makes sense. Because if you think that something will not happen or that there is no possibility that it will happen, most likely it won't happen. But if you have this unwavering positivity, right, that's backed up by you actually working to get it done, but it's also tempered by the reality that's in front of you, that can help you to balance out the positivity and the reality that you're experiencing.
Well, here's another thing, you mentioned that. If you're positive and everybody around you is negative, get out. Don't stay in a place where it's a bunch of negative people because it takes you down. They're just sucking the energy out of you. I know that because, you know, I grew up in the hood and that's all they did was those stupid names. Right? I mean, let's be real. But when I get out there and I start being with like-minded people, studying, reading, doing the right things, and everything starts going good. You know, you had to leave. That's one of the things you got to give up. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to get away from the people that anchor you down.
Embrace change.
That's it. Embrace the change. Change management. When I used to try to change companies, and it's, oh, I can't do that. I said, well, then you're not going to go anywhere. I'm giving you advice to bring you up to this level. But if you're going to hang on, then that means you're going to stay. Right. And that's the thing. It says, if you want to be a successful person, be with successful people. You know, don't go let those negatives tell you.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, like Dewey was saying, sometimes you just have to remove yourself from an environment. I think it was back in 2000, I'm gonna date myself, guys.
Oh, shut up.
Back in 2000.
We're in the 70s and 60s, man.
I think it was 2010, 2008. I just finished graduate school, and I was working in North Carolina, and in my house, I didn't have anything in my house but flour and water. And I remember I went to the stove and I just made this, I don't know what it was, but it was just a bottle of flour and water. And I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. I got to do something different with my life. So I called up one of my friends who was offering me a job in Mississippi. And then I just packed up my stuff and I moved to Mississippi. And then I took this journey on improving myself, improving my life, and doing something different. And I always go back to that time because I remember when I actually went back to school. And I remember when I was in school, I was working like 2 jobs. I was probably working like 3 jobs. I was part of like a student association. I was trying to start a business. And I always went back to that time where I was, you know, hungry in that kitchen. I was like, I'm not going back there. So I gotta work hard every single day to make my dreams reality. So I have one more thing. So the last thing is find your tribe, right? So we were just talking about this. You know, you gotta have a group of people that you surround yourself with who will motivate you, but not only motivate you, people who will call you out when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, or you just talking trash. People who will be honest with you, but people will also love you and support you when you're going through something difficult. And so the last one, for everyone's here, if you want, I have a co-work space, so if you need a space to work, I want to offer everyone here 1 week free.
Wow.
If you want to start a weekend, I think you got a few months free, so. Okay, so last thing, this is my information if you guys want to get in contact with me. Howie. What? Yeah. Howie. Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you for that, Tamari. That was amazing. A lot of values. Vic, yeah, if you want to go load up your slides. So you're next up.
Yep.
Next up, we have co-host of the event, Victor, who's going to be speaking on business alchemy. And he will explain more as to what that is and what he does. Yeah, I got it. Of course.
Alright. Everybody see the screen alright?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So those of you that don't know me,
Hey, who are you?
So my name is Victor Melgar. I created a brand this is actually a year ago, year and a half ago. I thought about creating a brand that focused on helping other people build their business because I've built about 4 businesses already. These 2 are mine right here, and then I have like 2 more that are kind of under development at the moment. But I realized that there was it wasn't simple, but there was like a similar process. It didn't matter what the business was. There was a similar formula that everybody should follow to kind of build it up from point A to point B. And that is what I do. So some people call me the Alchemist. That's my brand too. But I don't know if anybody here has read Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. It's a book. You know, nobody's read that. You read that? Yeah. So that's actually, this is actually from the book.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be the guide, right? So I'm that guy, and then I literally guide an entrepreneur or someone who's starting into business, and I make them reach point B. I help realize dreams, in other words, and that's what I believe business alchemy is. So what is alchemy? It's basically turning lead into gold, and it's the process of transmuting an idea into reality and the intangible into the tangible. And so that is why my brand is called Alchemist. So I'm gonna give you a little basics on what alchemy is, but alchemy is actually a lost art, and it's fascinating me because it's not science. It's the grandfather of all sciences that's ever existed. So alchemy is the understanding between consciousness and matter. So by taking your idea and making it reality, you have in essence developed an alchemical process birthed from the soul, developed in the mind and spirit, and through the physical body made the idea concrete. It is this that will provide the individual motivational and dedicated powers necessary to build their business, follow their dreams, and discover their purpose in life. And I want to reiterate on the purpose in life right there because as Tabari was talking about before, it's the why. Like, why do you guys do what you do? Why do you guys wake up in the morning and want to start your business? You have to have a passion for that. And the only way to understand that or do that is to basically, through alchemy, have work out, for example, your mind, body, and spirit. Work out, read books, do what you need to do to be successful that day, whatever it is. And it's by integrating all those three factors that you can become successful and start realizing your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, your business. So I'm gonna give you the formula. So first, you need to find your lead. So it's a three-step process. Your lead. Yeah, so you're turning lead into gold. That's what you're doing when you're transmuting that. And so the first thing is you got to identify your who, what, where, how, and why. So let's say you have an idea, you have a product, you have a brand, you're ready to go. How do you have to ask yourself these questions, and these questions are kind of, we're going to dig deep a little bit and try to figure out like what the lead is made out of, which is, who do you envision buying your product or idea? That's a question that you guys definitely need to answer because you need to have a precedence on who is going to buy your product before you get started. What other competitors that have already turned this idea into reality? This is research. So you got to figure out who are your competitors, what they have that you don't, and maybe possibly what you have that they don't. What pain or problem are you solving through your idea? So as Domi said, and also as Jeremy said, that you need to solve problems. You need to solve pain. And so you got to discover what exactly it is that your customer is experiencing that you can solve. Right? For Nala, for example, we solve aches, pains, anxiety, stress through all natural means. And then through Lion Pride, we give purpose. We give a sense of like, this is a brand that you can wear and feel prideful about yourself. Those are simple. If you notice, like one's more of a physical, one's more of a mental. Now, is this an idea, something that you are passionate about and would do for free? This is a big one, I feel like, because as Tabari was saying before on the dips right here, what are you gonna do when you hit that? When you hit the bottom spot? I don't believe it's money that's gonna help you rise up. I think it's deeper than that. I think it's purpose and it's passion. Like, would you do it for free? If you're down here and you have no money, what's gonna keep you going? It's gonna be what you're passionate about. It's gonna be something that you would do for free, regardless of the money. Then you gotta ask yourself, where do you see your business or idea going? So this is more of like thinking about the future. Where exactly you want to take it? Where do you envision your business being for 5 years? You want to be a multimillionaire, or you just want to have maybe a few establishments that are doing pretty well? You got to figure that out for yourself. And then finally, how are you going to start your business and get it to its destiny. So this is basically the more of the practical portion of the business. How are you going to get started? Do you need this amount of capital? Do you need X amount of partners? Do you need, I don't know, a car? Anything, honestly, it could be whatever it is, but you need to figure out how, why, where, basically who, what, where, why, and how business. So now you need the ingredients. So you figured out all your questions, and now you got to put it all together, piece it all together. So how do you do that? So if you guys want, you guys can take pictures, you can write this down. But I would suggest looking into something called a minimal viable product or proof of concept. So what that is basically your most basic concept of your product. So like when we started Nala, you see the finished product right there. But when we first, really first started, all we had was a protein bite in a plastic bag. That was our proof of concept. We started off with that. It was $40 amount of money I put in, and I just reinvested that in making the product look better and better and better. Now what you see is it's not even the final product. What you're seeing is just a continuation of the product moving forward, and the same thing with Lion Pride. So you don't expect to start off with your number one. This is it. You've got to start off somewhere, and it's just best to have something ready to go and proof that you can start showing. Then the next thing, and this is what I do for my business, for the Alchemist, is I actually go with the client, I sit down with them, and I talk about their value proposition canvas and business model canvas. Has anybody ever heard of these before? Can you raise your hands?
Heard of what?
It's called a business model canvas and a value proposition canvas.
Okay.
So, just a few of you. So what these are is they basically allow you to, on a huge graph, figure out all the inner workings of your potential business and understand the customer's pain points and what you could bring to the table. So I definitely look on, number one tool by far is Google. So take a look at Google, and I'm pretty sure you'll find all that you need to know on value prop and business model. Then you need promotional content. So once you have a proof of concept, you have a good understanding of your business through those two, you can now start creating content that you can start generating this content. You can use tools such as Canva. You can build a website. Just basically, you need to create something that you can start promoting to people. And so that leads up to the next thing, is start building some social media pages. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn.
And so what do you do?
TikTok.
That's for the what?
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's
for the sales funnel.
Yeah. You gotta start building that sales funnel before once you start building your business. That's so necessary. Something that's so overlooked, I feel, is branding. Branding there's a lot that goes into it, and Isaac's gonna talk about that specifically. But with branding, you need to have something to where it's easily recognizable. Your business can be recognized from a mile away. People understand what your business is about. And the branding itself should basically reflect the business. So you want to make sure that your branding is on top. This one is underrated. I feel a team driven by vision and a mission, not just the money. So I got my own team. I have a team of 4 for Nala. And what's keeping us going, honestly, it's not even the money. It's the fact that we all have a bigger purpose with what we're doing with our businesses. What we're trying to do for Nala is we're not just medicating people, but we want to create movements. We want to create social movements that help from the lower bottom of society to the very top. And so we believe that through the mission, which is to medicate and give people alternative medicines, that we can help society in a bigger, better way. And then I guess the biggest one, honestly, and you gotta ask yourself how much you're willing to invest in this, is time and money. How much time you're gonna put into it, how much money. You gotta be realistic with this. Sometimes it really do take a couple bands. It really does take a couple $1,000s to get your business even to break even. But you gotta ask yourself, is it worth it? And if it's worth it, just do it. Just get it done. There's no reason not to. So and also the time as well. You guys don't, maybe those of you that don't have businesses won't understand it, but those that do, obviously, time, you gotta put it into your business more so than ever before. Like, now is the time to really just double down and put time into what you're passionate about, and that's gonna make you money. So now you got the lead, you have the process written down, the ingredients. Now it's time to transmute it. Try to turn your idea into gold, make it to a reality. So you have everything ready to go. Now you're ready to start hitting your directed market with your promotional content. Start hitting people, all your friends, all your family. Leverage your friends and family to refer, post, or share, and as you're saying, give introductions. Right?
Absolutely.
Give introductions. Not referrals.
Get introductions.
Get introductions.
Get it.
So you want to basically leverage all your inner circle, everybody that you know, just basically to refer, repost, and share all your content, all your brand, and really get the word out there. Now, this is a good one. I feel like this is kind of underrated, but my brand is a CBD company. It's not really a clothing company. That's a clothing company. But I still have what I like to call swag. You know, I still have I still have hats. I have sweaters. I have things that people can
You know, when
wear.
you say swag, what are you talking about?
Just swag.
Swag is super wild ass gas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we
you know what? There's actually means something. The S means something. W means something.
Oh, okay.
I forgot what it means though. I just thought
it's my business.
Yeah.
That's what I'm swag.
But
Super wild ass
yeah,
gas. That's
but like I mean,
it's a methodology.
Exactly. Like you want people that visit your booth, for example, or to visit your brand.
Swag like
yeah, give them swag. Shoot them a shirt.
Well, when you said he had a golf
Yeah, it means something. I honestly I forgot what it means, but someone told me about swag or something like that, so I put it on there. But it can mean anything. It can mean merch, pins, hats, clothing. Just get those made because people are gonna be repping your brand in the outside when you're not around. People are if it's really good enough, your branding's on point. People are gonna ask about it. What is that? That looks cool. That looks dope. And you can tell them about it, and they will actually refer you. And this potential client, there's a potential seller. This is kind of something that I'm actively doing with my brands now, and those that know me obviously know that I do a lot of I try to do movements and stuff like that through social work, and I believe in giveaways that to causes that align with your why. So a good example of that would be we all eat in the 661 last year, and we fed and medicated over 117 people with CBD, and we fed them. And on top of that, gave out 150 hygiene packs and gave out 22 haircuts. And that not only brought us a ton of exposure, but a lot of people started really like, your brand is doing something different, you know. And so I truly believe that aligning yourself with causes that matter to you and that your brand can kind of align with will put yourself in a competitive edge over everybody else. That's not marketing and exposure. So anybody know what newsjacking is by chance? It's Byron?
Yeah, so for example, if there is a trending hashtag or a trending topic, you write about it, but then you use that traffic or publicity to talk about your own brand.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, so you basically the news is everywhere now. It's on your phone. So if you, for example, sometimes you can happen to be the right place at the right time. But if your brand is aligned with the news story and becomes viral, boom. Now your brand's viral. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why you drink a lot of Corona. Instead of taking an immunization shot, you take a whiskey shot.
Yeah. Trade shows. So trade shows, it could be product based, but it also could be like you're trying to gather and scout for clients. Go to trade shows where there's a lot of like-minded people or people that are looking to discover your brand, and there's a lot of value you can go from either way. And then of course events like this one. So those of you that were not familiar with Nala before, definitely at this point you're familiar with it. So it's definitely good to be part of events that bring your brand and your business exposure. We talked about story. Was that it?
Story. Yeah, that's part of the thing. Whenever you But then you always start off with the story because the story is the one that brings the emotion out.
Exactly.
And then you put the call to action.
Exactly. And that was your number one, right?
Number one, you always tell the story.
There it is.
So if you tell that story, boom.
You heard it from the man himself. So a story that resonates with your market segment. You need a good story. Like how are people gonna, like, excuse my language, but fuck with your brand if you don't have a good story that resonates emotionally with people. And you know, they already talked about it, but it's pretty much done at this point. But have a solid story that goes along with your brand. They go hand in hand together, especially when people want to know more about it. This one is probably at this digital age the most important website, landing page, and active links that lead to that landing page. So you need to have a website to display your products and your services, or at least a landing page, something simple, so people can look online that's attached to your social media pages. And then the links are search engine optimization that basically allows your business or brand to be more searchable on Google. So those three together are super powerful to really bring your business online and having more exposure online. So yeah, I just told you how to turn lead to gold, basically in span of 10 minutes. So here's kind of I mapped it out for you guys. It's free. It's on my website too, but it's kind of how to take your business from point A to point B if you're starting from scratch. And feel free to screenshot it and then share it to people that you know that are looking to start businesses. This is probably going to help them out a lot and will give them a lot of value and a little bit of a guideline to where you go. All right, so that was my presentation on business algorithm. But since you guys are all here, I wanted to talk to you guys about, so this is like a new initiative that I'm gonna start doing, and my brands are going to start doing, but it's something called We All Blank, because we can do whatever the hell we want. The first thing we did was we all eat in 661. We were rejected by the homeless shelter. Luckily, Mesh really saved us on this one, but we basically put together all the brands that in my inner circle, and we put them together to throw an event for people, for less fortunate people. And for this event, We All Thrive in the 661. This was more to bring together like-minded individuals, visionaries, business owners. So basically, all learn something different, something new, and we call it getting value out of it. But what I want to start doing is, and I've noticed, I want to do a new concept when it comes to business, which is I've noticed that if you start bringing together a bunch of different brands, especially ones that are getting started, and together you do something that not only supports one another but gives back to the community, you are doing something that's no one else is really doing in local communities. I mean, so basically by having your brands and businesses come together, support one another, we can truly create change in the community ourselves by investing in creating new innovative movements to help the younger generation, our community, our homeless, our family, and our businesses to thrive. And I think that, I mean, we could rely on systems, we could rely on politicians to do the work for us, but I truly believe as business owners and people who are going to be successful, every single one of you here is obviously here for a reason, and it's going to go do big things in life. I think it's our duty to give back to the community that we're in. I mean, we're going to be making a hell of a ton of money. I think some people here are going to be multimillionaires, but if we're going to create our brands, we should come together and support one another because we all come up that way. We all eat, we all thrive that way. And the best part is the people around us are also coming up with us. So that is why I propose we all read in 6 of 20. And I want to do it different. I don't want to do what everybody else does. I want to do something where we can bring together a collective group of brands. I don't know how much we want to bring, but a lot of different brands to kind of collaborate and create a new initiative where we're helping the next generation of kids learn to read, but read the right books that are not taught in school. And I think that marketing, for example, The Alchemist, books on computer programming, and something that's simple to read, but give it to students that are in school or are less fortunate. I think that by investing and education and bringing it to people, especially younger kids, that's going to have like a rebound effect, or actually a ripple effect, where they're going to be supporting other people, and they're going to also come up and learn something different. So, you want to click that link for me? Right there. So, this is sort of something I had in mind when we teach kids, but I'm a big fan of Nipsey Hussle. Everybody is familiar with Nipsey Hussle, the rapper? No, all right. So, is he going back? Yeah. So so this is kind of like some of the things that he was kind of giving back to the community. Something called Hustlenomics, right? Turn up or own up, entrepreneurship, black capital, breaking the chain, creating value, owning real estate. This guy was a rapper, you know, and now he's got a whole generation of kids that look up to him, and those kids are going to succeed because they have somebody not only that they look up to, but he's providing value that they're not getting in school. So I think that all of us as people who think outside the box and are visionaries, we should do the same. So therefore, we all eat, we all thrive, and we all read, and 661 is going to be up next. So I'm going to have a sheet for everybody, so if you guys have brands and you're interested in being part of it, just write down your name, your email. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll hear from you. So I want to bring up next Isaac Mashman. Came all the way from Florida to be here. Yeah. We got all the way from Florida to educate.
On his day.
Yeah.
Not quite. Would you mind getting PowerPoint up?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got it.
That's fine, Jerry. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm going to leave a pile here, but actually I have your contact information from Victor already, so I'll be in touch. But yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No problem. Great to be here, guys. So, like, I wanted to do like more discussion, but I have another commitment I have to go to. So I'm gonna leave some business cards here. I'd love to talk to anybody in here about whatever you need help with. So that's there. Oh no, problem. I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry I have to run.
No, I'm done.
All right, here we have it. All right, thanks again for that.
Thank you for that introduction, Victor. But for those of you who do not know me, my name is Isaac Mashman. I'm 19 years old. I'm actually originally from Jacksonville, Florida, and by chance, I wound up in Bakersfield. I'm now currently living here. A couple years ago, I came in contact with Victor and the rest of my current friends, such as Logan, Gabriel, and I just saw that I needed to take a risk in my own life, and that's why I'm here today. So when it comes to business and what I do, I've dabbled in a bunch of different things. I've dabbled in a clothing line. I've tried to do drop shipping, didn't know what I was doing. And then I eventually found myself into a media company. And then when I started out with a media company, I realized that I wasn't sure what services I was providing. When I flew out here back in July of 2019, I wanted to do a media company. I didn't know what services I was providing. I didn't know any of that. Fast forward, I realized that my passion was actually in the music industry. So what I realized is there are a lot of different artists out there. There are a lot of different musicians. There are a lot of different rappers who want to build a brand for themselves, who want to get heard, but they don't have the basics of branding down, which leads me into the discussion. Now, this isn't going to be a discussion about branding for rappers, branding for artists. That's something that we can talk about another time. But that's what I do through Mashman Media and through my record label that I'm in the process of launching. But I want to ask you guys a quick question. How many of you have an Instagram? Raise your hand if you have an Instagram. Pretty much, yeah, Adam, I already know you have one. Do you have an Instagram by any chance? You do? Okay, cool. So that's 100% of everyone in the room. Now, how many of you guys use your Instagram for business purposes? Perfect. Perfect. Now, do you use Instagram actively to generate leads? Would you like those leads to be increased?
Yes.
Obviously, because more leads equals more money, equals more success. Whatever your why is, you can fulfill that why. So, how do you do that though? Through branding. Now, Victor started to talk about branding a minute ago, but he didn't go into the actual details of it. So what is branding? It is basically when someone thinks of your name, whenever someone thinks of like your name or the name of your company, for example, Nala, what do they think about? What does your brand stand for, right? And so it is up to you to give that person a certain feeling. Whenever they go to your page, how do they feel? What do they immediately know what your brand represents? And the one issue that a lot of people have is they are not branding themselves the right way. You could go to their Instagram page and you don't even know that they're an artist. That's an issue that I found with a lot of my personal clients. There are a lot of artists out there who create great music, but the one thing that they lack is they lack exposure. They lack the proper fundamentals of branding to where you go to their page, you don't even know that they're an artist or that they make music, or they have one link in their bio, and that's about it. The one thing that you have to have is you have to have marketplace position. You have to position yourself to be found. It's something that I call omnipresence. Now, omnipresence is normally referred to in a religious sense. They say God is everywhere, he's omnipresent. And I believe that it needs to be the same exact thing when it comes to branding. Whenever someone goes and searches up your name, Nala CBD, what do they find? Do they see a whole bunch of old pages from 2011, 2007, or do they find a website? Do they find an Instagram? Do they find a Twitter? Do they find a LinkedIn? Do they find a TikTok profile, a Pinterest profile? That is something that a lot of people lack nowadays. You go and search up someone's music, you might find a SoundCloud link, you don't find something else. Or I know, for example, if you have a clothing line, search up a clothing line, there's no can't even pronounce that word. They don't have a reputation, basically. And the one thing about branding is you're establishing a reputation for yourself. Do you have any idea of how many monthly active users are on Instagram? Anyone take a guess? Every month on Instagram? A billion. How many active users on Twitter? I don't know how many of you use Twitter. A mil? 330 million active users every single month on Twitter. Now, how many businesses are in the United States alone? Does anyone know? 32.5 million. That means that you are, let's say every single one of those people are on Instagram, every single one of those businesses are on a brand, that's 32.5 million competitors that you have. Everyone else is trying to get their own. And so whenever someone goes and finds your profile, you are trying to convince them of what you are, or who you are, what you do, and why they should follow you. And then from that follow, it goes to the sales funnel. Once they have that brand exposure, it goes from knowing about you to trusting you to buying from you. In order for someone to buy from you, they have to trust in you, they have to trust in your company, and they also have to believe in the product that you're offering or the service you're offering and the product you're selling. And if any one of those things is out of line, you're not going to get that sale, you're not going to get that conversion. Chances are, it's possible, but I'm a firm believer in increasing your chances when you're trying to make money, when you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to build a brand. So I want to open it up for a quick Q&A to kind of drive the next couple minutes of the conversation. What has been the biggest issue when it comes to building up a brand for yourself? Victor?
Yeah, customer acquisition.
Customer acquisition, okay. Anyone else?
You said building the brand?
When it comes to building a brand, when it comes to an online presence, social media, like let's say you want to be found, right? Like let's say your goal is to get more exposure, more eyes.
You're saying online, creating a relationship with someone when it's not in person versus it being online, creating that, customer rapport.
Creating customer rapport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Creating a community versus one-on-one.
Creating a community versus just one-on-one.
It's a lot easier
Okay.
when people see a community versus someone who's got a one-on-one.
Definitely. What I'm going to transition, I'm going to talk about is, it's going to cover all three of those. And it's going to be about giving yourself characteristics, showing who you are online, and also making it easy to be found. Those are two of the biggest things. A lot of people are afraid of showing who they are online, showing what they do, all of those different things. But the one thing this goes into more of a motivational thing, is you have to embrace who you are, what you do, and what business you're building. A lot of people treat their businesses more as a hobby. They treat their brands more as a hobby versus an actual business. You have to own up to what you do. Once you own up to it, then you start posting about it more. You start speaking about it more. You can't be afraid to go out and get hurt. And you talk about building a community. How is someone going to follow someone who they don't know? You have to show yourself. You have to engage with people. That means sending messages. It's very tedious, but you have to send messages to people. You have to find their pain point. Are they in search for a mentor? Are they in search for a podcast to listen to? Are they in search for new music to listen to? Do they need more clothes? All those different things. You find that problem, you solve, you find the problem, you lead to a solution. And I could go on about this for a long, long time. There's so many different things that when it comes to branding that goes into it. But the overall basis is you're establishing a reputation for yourself, and that reputation is key. Back 200 years ago, or even 1,000 years ago, people knew who the prominent figures were. Like you want to talk way back when, back to biblical times, ancient times. People knew who the rulers were. People who knew who the aristocrats were. They didn't know the common folk. The people of prominence were people who made sure that they were known. And that's the case. But the one thing about this, a lot of people would be like, oh, that's very egotistical. It's not egotistical when it comes to building a business and when it comes to competing with everyone out there. And so to transition out of that and speak more of, okay, well, what do we do? How do I do that? It's about getting on every single platform you can. Even if you don't produce content, something that I always do with all my clients is I make sure that they are on literally every single social media platform. Even if they don't post, what I do, and this is golden for a lot of you guys who are building a business or want to have a personal brand, get on Pinterest, get on LinkedIn, get on all these different platforms, literally search up social media platforms, and you go from there and you create pages literally just for your brand or just for your business. What that does is whenever someone types in Google, let's say, for example, one of my clients is in the room, Tyler. He's an artist. Noah Loomis is his artist name. I got him on Pinterest. I got him on LinkedIn. Why would a rapper or an artist be on LinkedIn? It makes no sense until you go and search up Noah Loomis on Google and you see his LinkedIn profile. It's all about establishing more credibility in the marketplace. If you establish more credibility in the marketplace, that leads to marketplace positioning, which means that you could charge more money. You have easier closing rates because people trust you. That's huge. That's huge. Over the past couple of years, I built up myself an audience on Twitter of like 11,000 people. Personally, I'm very humbled by that, but at the same time, it's something that I've been able to leverage for my business because now I'm offering branding services, I'm offering social media services. And I don't mention that to like brag or boast because like I'm grateful for it, but at the same time, those 11,000 followers have enabled me to expand my brand on Instagram, expand my brand on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and then just get my message heard. I know that a lot of you, for example, you have clothing line, right? Or
I teach sewing
you
classes.
teach sewing classes, right?
So too.
Okay. Don't be afraid to own up to what you do. Come on, that's awesome.
Well,
You do sell some stuff, okay. Now, do you charge for the sewing classes?
yes.
Okay. How did you guys hear about this event? Victor? Okay.
You're here, right?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here at Mesh. So.
Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of okay. Cool. How many people do you have in your normal sewing class?
They range from like 4 to 10.
Do you charge for those?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how would it be to go from like 4 to 10 to like 20?
Well, we wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't,
we
but
only, I know in like, perfect world, there would have to be more instructors. We would have to have more sewing machines. Money-wise, yeah, that'd be
that'd
great.
be dope. Okay.
But it's more, for us, it would be more of having more than one class a day, having like 2 classes a day. So it's more like that's how we would scale is we're able to fill 2 classes in one day rather than just have one class and try to fill that. It's like the demand is so high that we need to add on a second class.
Right.
So.
Do you see that demand right now?
No.
Okay. What do you think that is?
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out?
Sitting in the seat right now.
I love it. I love that you guys are coming here also like willing to learn. That's big.
Yeah.
Coachability and teachability is huge in all things business and all things life in general. Okay, so what you could do is, there are 2 big differences between in branding. You have personal branding, which is who you are. That's what celebrities are. You think of The Rock, you know who The Rock is. You know who Selena Gomez is. You know who Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, all these other people are because of their personal brand. Not necessarily because of what they do, but because of who they are. Then you also have business branding. Business branding is giving your company characteristics. That's the goal. Whenever you start a company, for example, Nala, I'm using Victor's company, he had to start this company, he had to establish core principles. What did it stand for? Why is he building it? What problem is it solving? All those different things. He's giving characteristic to a piece of paper and a group of people. That's what a company is. A company is a collective group of people with a similar vision, and then a piece of paper which determines, that it's a credible company in the eyes of the government. That's kind of what it is. And then from there, you expand it out and give it characteristics. Now, he could sell Nala just on the street, or he could leverage social media and building up a brand for Nala and what Nala does, what Nala stands for, and other people are going to see that Nala and Nala's values line up with their own values. People want to connect with other people. People want to follow things that they can relate to and things that they can support. From there, goes into the sales funnel, what all the other great speakers, Dom and Jeremy and Tabari spoke about, and then from there, you close them because they trust you, that it lines up with their values, and then from there, you have a new client, you have a lifelong customer. I also want to throw out another statistic, and that is, back in 2007, this is an old statistic. In 2007, there's a survey done that said that the average person saw 5,000 brands every single day. 5,000. That was 2007. That was just when Facebook was getting started. Like Instagram was just in the early stages, and MySpace was like, I don't know, MySpace. But fast forward 12, 13 years, we live in a world with TikTok, with Instagram that has how many? 1 billion monthly users. We have Twitter with 330 million. So that 5,000, I wasn't able to find a modern statistic, but you can imagine that 5,000 probably skyrocketed to at least 20. So what are you going to do to stand out? The easier you make it for yourself to close clients, for you to, even if you don't have a business, but just want to build up a name for yourself, then just easier. And I'm all about making things easier for me to get a better result, because I know that the more results I have, the more people I can help, and the more my own why, and the reason why I'm doing this, will be solved. So, that being said, I'll open it up for any questions, but I have no idea how long that was. So, that being said, Victor, you know what time it is.
Got a little time, yeah, so that concludes basically all the speakers in the event. So another reason why we do this event is because me and Isaac and I, we are actually partnering up our brands together, The Alchemist and Mashman Media. And so basically, go ahead and read it.
You have The Alchemist, and basically the mission statement is, in our partnership, our mission is to enable, guide, and mentor the aspiring business owner so he and she can achieve a success by their own definition.
That's right. And so what we're looking to do as our partnership is not only, like on my end, for example, I built this from point A to point B, but we want to actually we want to go further than that. We want to do point A to point B to point C to point D. And so by combining our skill sets and our talents together, we think that we can help not only the aspiring business owner, but business owners that are already on their way up. And so we, because we have partnered up, we want to do some big things out here for the local community as well. And so, okay, pretend the referrals in there. We're gonna have introductions. Yes. But so basically, everyone in this room has an opportunity to make $750. Up to that, all you got to do is literally introduce us to some clients, and basically, once you close the deal, you get paid. That easy. All you gotta do is just refer us. Hey, we know 2 guys, Isaac Mashman and Victor Malwar. They'll help you out with blah blah blah. And that's it. It's all the work you guys need to do, and we'll take it from there. So.
And yeah, and we both want to thank you guys for coming out. You could be doing anything else on a Thursday night, but here you are sitting here taking notes, getting value, and that shows a lot about who you are as individuals, as entrepreneurs, as business people, and it also shows a lot about where you guys are headed. Yeah. So now, do you want to make? Okay, afterwards, we also have drinks. You guys are more than welcome to stay, network.
So we do have in the other room. Yeah, we didn't bring Modelo. I was joking about that, but we did bring Coronas. I brought that because I was trying to make a joke on the coronavirus.
Poor taste. Poor taste.
I want to website so that if you want my meeting notes, it's a blog.
Yep.
Okay, it's the Kaizen Center.